I've wanted a Corvette ever since I was in high school. Everybody else had the Lamborghini Countach poster on their wall. Well, I had the Corvette, specifically the 1980 Corvette. It was the poster that was in the brochure for 1980. It was yellow, and there was this woman staring off into the distance off to the side, but all I cared about was the car. I went away to college in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I took a photography class. And of course, the first thing I wanted to photograph was a Corvette. So I called the local Chevy dealer to see if I could get a Corvette to shoot. And they were very happy to oblige. One day they sent out a 1980 L82, I think, and on another day it was a 1981 version. So after shooting away and spending some time with Corvettes and driving them a little bit, I knew definitely that I wanted one. I kind of bugged the dealership more and more to do stuff, and I ended up working for them. So I got to drive a lot of C4s when they first came out, and it blew my mind. The C4 seemed like a spaceship compared to C3s. So I got brochures on Corvettes, I sent away for press kits on Corvettes, I bought model Corvettes. I just wanted to know everything about the car. So while in college in Nebraska, I double majored in commercial art and journalism with an eye toward becoming an automotive journalist. I come back to California and I start bugging the car magazines. Where can I get press cars? Because I want to write articles about cars. I want to shoot cars. I want to do everything with cars. Well, that ended up leading me to the PR department at Chevy. And this would have been probably around 1988. I had veered off into doing video at this point, and I wanted to do a public service announcement about don't drink and drive. But what it really was an excuse to get a Corvette. So they sent me a 1988 convertible. I shot the video, drove the car for a week, and then I got married and had kids, and all pursuits of the Corvette stopped. I had 3 sons, and I told every single one of them that after the last one was out of the house, I was going to buy a Corvette. So when the youngest one joined the Marines, I figured it was a pretty safe time to finally get a Vette. So I started looking. I didn't see anything for several months that was in my price range, and that was in the condition that I wanted, and then this one popped up. So I drove about an hour and a half away out to this dealer in Upland, saw the car, drove the car, talked to the dealer, and it was definitely a perfect fit. It was a one-owner car. It was owned by a couple in San Dimas, and it only had 45,000 miles on it, despite being about 13 years old at the time. It's a completely non-performance model. It doesn't have the Z51 suspension. It's not a Z06. It's just a cruiser. But it literally has every option that goes on the inside, including the very archaic 2-DVD navigation system, which I would never trust with my life. I've owned probably about 25 cars in my lifetime, and most of them have just been for transportation. But there were a few notable ones. My first car that was totally mine and not a family car was a 1962 Buick Invicta convertible. My dad bought it for $200 off a buddy of his. The car had lived in New York, so the bottom 25 to 30% of this car was completely rusted out. But it was a convertible and it was mine. It was the first time I had ever driven a convertible, and I remember driving one night with the top down during the summer through Griffith Park and thinking, this is why you buy a convertible. This is fantastic. Because sitting out in the sun and burning your skin, stuck in traffic, that didn't work for me. But at night, summer, top down, it was awesome. So I knew if I ever got a Corvette, it was going to be a convertible. You have to appreciate the Corvette for what it is. It's a big fiberglass tub with a big engine at the front, at least until the new one, that is. It makes a lot of noise, and it's kind of simplistic in a lot of ways. Porsches and Ferraris might be more sophisticated, quote unquote, but the Corvette can keep up with them. It's much more reliable. The components are as close as an auto parts store because honestly, there's a lot of pieces that Chevy cribbed from lesser models and put them in the Corvette. That being said, those parts in the Corvette are much more enjoyable than, say, a Chevy Cavalier or some piece of junk like that. I've always connected with the Corvette for some reason, where I haven't connected with other sports cars. I've been in and driven Porsche 911s. I've driven at least one Ferrari, lots of Mercedes and BMWs. But for some reason, the Corvette, it's just a different experience. It's very American in its presentation. It's raw, it's got a lot of power, it's loud, always going to have fun driving. It's a therapy chamber. It's a place to think without staring at a wall. You wear a car like a comfortable pair of jeans. To me, a car shouldn't be about status. It should be about personality, about story, a memory. Life is short, you know? I didn't buy a 14-year-old Corvette because of some bad attempt at status or because I'm a middle-aged male and a Corvette just shows up in your driveway when you turn 50. I bought it to drive it on a summer night, top down, on a quiet road. I'll never get rid of it.